Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Playtech TV. My name is Kevin, and today we're going to be talking about the Sapphire R9 390 Nitro. So this card's quite interesting. I really like it, and it comes in at a really good price to performance spot in the market. So let's first talk about what GPU this guy has in it. So just like the 290, if you remember from last generation, was a cut down version of the 290X, the 390 is a cut down version of the 390X. That means it features the 28 nanometer Granada GPU, which is basically a rebrand of the Hawaii GPU from the 290 and 290X, which means this one's coming with 2,560 shader units, the same as the 290. Of course, that's on the GCN 1.1 architecture. It also comes with 160 texture units, which is the same as the 290, 64 ROPS, which is the same as the 290, and you guessed it, 40 compute units, which is the same as the 290. So you might be wondering what the big differences are. Well, that's what we're going to get into right now. So the reference clock speed has been up. So if you remember back to the 200 series, the 290 was coming in with a reference clock speed of 947 megahertz, and the 290X came in with a reference clock speed of 1000 megahertz or 1 gigahertz. Now this has been upped with the 300 series, so now the 390's reference clock speed is 1000 megahertz and the 390X is 1050 megahertz. This Nitro in particular comes with a stock speed of 1010 megahertz, so it has that 10 megahertz bump up there. Now memory-wise, there's also been quite a big change with this card. So we're seeing 8 gigabytes now, which is double what you got on the previous 290, so that's quite good. But the biggest benefit is the memory bandwidth. So the memory speed has been upped, so you're getting 6,000 megahertz on the same 512-bit bus. Remember on the 290 you're getting 5,000 megahertz from reference. So that's 20% higher memory bandwidth, and this is achieved by using 4 gigabyte chips with better timings over the 2 gigabyte chips. Now TDP wise, the 290 and the 290X came with a TDP of 300 watts, whereas the 390 and 390X are coming with TDPs of 275 watts just through refining these GPUs in them a bit more. So that's quite good. That will bring temperatures down and mean there will be less noise because the fans on the cooler won't need to ramp up as much. Now let's talk about power. So on this guy in particular, you get two 8-pin powers. You'll see there's no crossfire fingers up here. That's just because everything goes through the PCI on these cards, if you weren't aware. You do see a dual BIOS switch up there, so that's something a lot of overclockers will really like. Flip round to I/O, and we see that it has pretty much just the standard for AMD these days, so DVI, single HDMI. This isn't HDMI 1.0, it's HDMI 1.4, and triple DisplayPort, so plenty of options there in terms of I/O. Now cooler-wise, this features the Nitro cooler, which is just a different name for the Tri-X cooler, basically. But this is an excellent, excellent cooler, and I do highly recommend it. It comes with these big 10mm heat pipes, you can see that extend past the PCB. These fans are absolutely excellent on it, and this card has just got such a good reputation for just being quiet and very cool running, and I've always been very impressed with Sapphire's coolers, and this one most of all. It just does an absolutely excellent job. Now that's enough talking about this card, and let's go into some benchmarks then. You guys will like that. So I decided to put this up against the Tri-X 290 from last generation, so you can see a sort of perfect comparison. So pretty much, I know this is called the Nitro, but it's just a rebrand of the Tri-X 290. So it's basically a Tri-X 290 versus a Tri-X 390. So let's jump into the benchmarks and see how these cards compare. So as you can see, it's quite interesting there, the differences between these cards. I mean, it's not a huge jump up for this 390, which a lot of you are probably, weren't expecting there to be a huge jump up. But it still is a good incremental upgrade over the 290. With that being said, it's probably not worth it for anybody to just run out and buy the 390 if you already have a 290, unless you're running out of VRAM or something like that. So I think it's really good. Performance-wise, it still does very well, and it's still a good incremental upgrade over the 290 in terms of its performance. And as I said earlier, it comes in at such a nice price point, so I really like that too. But performance isn't everything, so let's get into temperatures and see how the temperatures of the 390 compared to the 290. So during the Unigine Valley benchmark on the Extreme HD preset, I saw the 390 go up to 68 degrees Celsius, and that was at 42% fan speed, whereas the Tri-X 290 went up to 73 degrees Celsius at 40% fan speed. So slightly lower fan speed there by 2%, but that's still a 5-degree difference in favor of the 390, seeing that slightly lower TDP pay off there in the ballpark of about 5 degrees. So that's really good too. So that brings us now to the conclusion. So what do I really make of the 390? Well, as I said, comparing it to the 290, it's a nice incremental upgrade. But when we kind of think in the more broader sense of the whole GPU market, I think this is an absolutely excellent card for the price point it's coming in at. It gives you really, really solid performance at a really low price, and you also get great features. Obviously, it's coming with 8 gigabytes of RAM, which is very, very future-proof as well. And this is a card I would say would be kind of a good minimum these days for people looking to get into 4K gaming. Probably, as you could see from the benchmarks, although those were all maxed out in the games, it's probably still not the most ideal for 4K on a single card anyways, unless you're happy just playing it over 30 frames a second. But most likely, if you're using this for 4K gaming, you'll probably just have to drop some of the filters off and stuff like that, and you'll still get a really good experience. But for 1440p gaming, and I've been using this for 1440p gaming, it does absolutely excellent, and I would highly recommend it. And even 1080p gaming, it does an absolutely excellent job. So I really like the 390, and I think it comes in at a really good spot in the market. Now, thank you all for watching this video. Please subscribe to PlayTech TV if you haven't already, and like the video. And as always, I'll see you guys next time.